GramacTalks. Be the light that guides, the courage that explores.
Hey everyone, welcome back to GramacTalks. Today's episode is all about something exciting and important. What's new in the CP community? Because too often, when people hear the words cerebral palsy, they assume nothing changes. They think that it's a static condition, a closed chapter, or a topic no one is really talking about. But the truth is, there is movement and there is progress. There are researchers, advocates like myself, families, and individuals with CP pushing forward every single day. And today, I want to share some encouraging updates. My first point is that there is more awareness now than ever before. This year marked the 20th anniversary of National Cerebral Palsy Awareness Day in the United States. And this matters because awareness opens doors. It helps schools become more inclusive. It helps workplaces understand accessibility. And most importantly, it helps families feel less alone. And organizations like the Cerebral Palsy Foundation continue encouraging the community through campaigns like #GoGreen4CP. And this tells me something. It tells me that the CP community is not invisible and that it is being seen. The second point I want to make is that research is growing. For years, many people felt that cerebral palsy did not receive enough research attention. But now there are signs of progress. This year, advocates highlighted continual federal funding in the U.S. for CP research and surveillance programs through 2026. We see that researchers are also studying better early detection, lifelong adult care, pain management, mobility improvement, and new technologies using AI and motion analysis. And this is hopeful news because better research can lead to better lives. The third point I want to make is that there's more focus on adults with CP. And for a long time, many conversations around cerebral palsy focused mainly on children. And that's fair, but many people forget that people with CP also grow up, such as myself. We become adults with careers, goals, friendships, and faith, and also challenges of our own. And now we are seeing that more organizations are discussing topics like adult health care, mental health, employment, fitness, independent living, and aging with cerebral palsy. And personally, I think that's long overdue. And I really recommend fitness, portion because people with CP like myself, especially if we are, in a wheelchair, we do need to get mobility going. And that may be different from other people. Like, for myself, I usually go to, pole therapy and OT. And on Mondays, I go to the gym with a trainer who specializes in adaptive training for me. So I can do weights with them, I can do push-ups, and I finally have a sparring partner. Which is something that I've longed for. If you've seen my Instagram videos, I usually box I have a punching bag in the garage. And I think it's also fun to spar with a partner, not only because, we get to interact, but because we get to develop a friendship and a meaningful connection. And I think he's doing a really good job with helping me with my fitness and personal goals. And this is because adulthood with CP deserves just as much attention as childhood. The next point I want to make is the power of community. And we see that one of the biggest changes isn't only medical, but it's social. Today, people with disabilities can connect more easily than ever before through podcasts like this, support groups, social media, and advocacy communities. And that means that no one has to feel isolated because your voice matters and your story matters. And someone else may need the encouragement you carry. And all of us have our own story. And I've mentioned this before, that not everybody with TP has the same result or the same, response. For example, for me, I can know that progress can sometimes feel slow, but slow progress is still progress. I remember one time I was speaking to my uncle and I was stressed about all of his books I had to, or that I wanted to publish in 1 year. And he gave me some good advice. He said to, to take things slow and to focus on the most urgent tasks first, and you gradually progress down the road. And that has really helped me personally. I like to make a list of what I need to do for matter of importances, and that's kind of how I deal with, slowing down my mind and I also like listening to music. And, but your story might be different. And I encourage you to share your story, whether you have cerebral palsy or not. You may never know the impact you can have on another person's life. And, like I said, slow progress is still progress. Every accessible ramp, every better wheelchair, every supportive friendship, every new treatment, and every person who chooses inclusion. That all matters. And sometimes the biggest victories don't make headlines, but they still change lives. So if you're a part of the CP community, whether you live with it, care for someone, or just support someone who does, you don't have to, have a physical limitation. But I hope that you'll be encouraged today. And there is still work to do. There's still more to do. I mean, like I said, CP is lifelong, and we can never remain stagnant or still with this. But there's also a reason for hope. The future is still being written, and the CP community is helping write it. And if you'd like to learn more about my personal journey of advocacy, faith, and life with cerebral palsy, you can find it in my memoir, Disability, My Experience with Cerebral Palsy. Thanks again for joining me on GramacTalks. And remember, be the light that guides, the courage that explores, and the faith that endures.